Hello, horror world. Welcome to Death by Podcast, the world's ultimate horror podcast. Movies. That's what we do. Kevin.
Yep.
Welcome to Death by Podcast, folks. Episode 73. This week we've got a major treat for you in the form of Ice Cream Man from 1994. The Clint Howard vehicle.
Yep.
I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
First things first. We got a lot to cover. Congratulations on your diorama. Diorama? Do you say diorama or diorama?
Diorama.
Diorama?
Diorama, not
diorama.
Yeah.
Diorama? What am I saying? Am I saying a feminine product?
I don't know. You sound
Diaphragm.
like you're gonna have a stroke.
So you guys might, if you follow Kevin over on his Instagram, the other Kevin Kroll, you've seen his love for Simpsons. It's the only thing he posts about. He doesn't care about his wife, his kids, or this podcast.
I only post like twice a year. So
he posts on Halloween for his Simpsons decorations, and he posts for this contest that you enter for the Simpsons. It's not just the Simpsons diorama contest, right? Or is it?
no, so it's a quarterly, I guess it is now. Simpsons trivia
Okay. So
event that happens in the city.
Okay.
And it basically they have 4 events a year, 2 of which are like also other event, like they have a Halloween like costume contest, and they also have this diorama,
Okay.
which is a thing that happened on The Simpsons.
Okay. And you've won it every year.
No, I won
for the last 20 years.
No, 2 years in a row I've won.
That's it? I thought you won it like more than that.
I've only competed 2 years in a row, but
okay, I see what you're saying. So
yeah,
so as long as you're competing in it, you're gonna win, is what you're saying.
maybe. I don't know. I mean, like the people are really cool, and like I don't know. I might. And the other thing is I'm thinking about having a separate, like since I like really like making them.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking about doing it like all year, and having a separate like Instagram page and maybe a YouTube page explain, because they have like motors and lights and
they
play music and stuff. And so like I'm thinking about doing that. And if I do that, where I'm essentially making 6 to 12 models a year, I'm not going to enter them in this contest. Like,
really?
Yeah, like you? That just it doesn't seem, it seems like a kind of a dick move to be like, oh yeah, I like make these all year.
That's the point, man. No, not. I mean, the point isn't to be a dick. I'm saying, if yours is the best, it's the best. Put it in there. Like, if somebody else has a problem with that, then make one that's better than Kevin Kroll's.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
I feel like it's a dick move to not compete, because you're saying like, nah, I'd blow you guys out of the water anyway, so I'm not gonna compete.
Yeah, I guess that is maybe a dick. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I don't know what to do, because like, I mean, like I said, I put motors and shit, and like it's not.
You put everything into it. So yeah, that's awesome. You should do that.
I think next year I'm gonna keep it isolated to one, because this diorama was kind of overboard. It was essentially 5 dioramas in one.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Go check it out, folks. And congrats. What's the prize?
Last year it was a screen used a screen like cast used script from the show.
Wow. Cool.
Which I was dumb, because I should have brought it this year
and flaunted it around, right?
No, I should have brought to get it. So the prize this year was the Simpsons have had like many showrunners, and the showrunners from season, I believe 7 and 8, which are 2 of the best seasons.
Yeah.
They were in town because they went on after the Simpsons. They went and created a show called Mission Hill.
Okay.
And they were doing like a Q&A thing at Alamo Draft House, and it was tickets to that. And I got to meet them and hang out with them a little bit, and it was cool.
That's cool. That's
cool.
And
one of them came to the event, to the contest.
So they saw your diorama?
Yeah, one of them did. It was really neat, and it was like I got to talk to them a little bit. But I should have brought the script to have them sign it because I'm pretty sure it was an episode they worked on.
That's
I have
cool,
the
man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
but they were really
Congrats.
cool.
Yeah.
Mission Hill is also a really good show. I
Never
wound
heard
up.
of it.
It was on Adult Swim. And there's only 13 of them. It was a good little show. It was around in like '99.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds like a blast, man. Um, what else? What else? What?
I was gonna talk about Chicago's Alamo Draft House because that's where it
what do
was.
you got?
Have you been there yet?
I have not.
I can't decide. Well, I can't decide if I'd like it or hate it because you go in, you're like, this is fucking cool because it's like just VHS tapes all over the place. Like that's like the aesthetic.
That's cool.
And they also they rent out VHS tapes for free, and you can rent VCRs.
That's cool.
However, it's in the middle of Wrigleyville.
Oh,
So
why do I not know where this is? I've never.
it's I
there was
mean
one there.
it's I think it's on Clark. It's a block away from Wrigley Field.
Okay.
And I tell you, man, like I got out of there and like I got there during a Cubs game and then I got out
Ugh.
and I had to take an Uber and I didn't realize that Ubers won't pick you up in Wrigleyville.
Yeah.
Like, so you had to like walk, I had to walk like 4 or 5 blocks to where my Uber picked me up. And it was like The Walking Dead. It was 10 o'clock at night, man.
Yeah.
And it was
dude.
just drunk. It was a drunk shit show. It reminded me of when I went to New Orleans. It wasn't as bad as Bourbon Street, but it was like, holy cow. I watched this, like people just making out on the street and then arguing and throwing beers at each other. It was like, dude, this is insane.
I was telling my neighbor today, I was like, if I was a supervillain, because he works up there somewhere, I was like, if I was a supervillain, I would wait until the bars got out, follow one of those drunk zombie guys home, rob them, push them in the bushes. They'd wake up in the morning and be like, where's my wallet? Oh, at least I still got my collared shirt on.
That's what was why I was expecting it because once I said it was in Wrigleyville, everybody was like, oh man, regular. I haven't been up there in 10 years. And I used to go to it, not regularly, but I'd go at the, but I'm not kidding. So when I went to go wait for my Uber, I was sitting I just found a curb, or like a porch. I found somebody's porch and I was sitting there waiting for the Uber and like, 10, 12 people walked by me because I was waiting for a few minutes. Yeah. And I heard the same story over and over again. And it was the same with different groups. It was a guy, girl. And then, yeah, man, I woke up at my friend's house and I didn't know where I was. And it was just like, and I've been there. Like, I was in my 20s. That's all I did. But it was like, holy shit, man.
Next time that happens, just text me. You can walk here. It's 6 blocks. I
should have done that. Yeah. You should. Well, wait. If you're that close, you should check out this because it's a movie theater too.
I'll check it out when it's like during the week.
Yeah, and the aesthetic. I mean, if
zombies
you have to go
sleeping.
Yeah, if you have to go to a movie, there's worse places because it is a really nice theater, and it's again
isn't the Alamo Draft House? They have one location that's really popular, right?
Well, it's the original. I think
in Texas.
The original was in Texas. They opened one in LA. I think the one in LA closed.
Okay.
And now we have this one. And yeah, I think the original was like one of the first, like, hey, we're a bar too.
Right.
And you can get food here. Like
while you watch the movie.
Yeah. And the other cool thing, I mean, the chairs are really nice. You can order like they have a really cool system about how you like order more food or beer while you're watching the movie, or you don't even have to see a movie. They have a bar with food there. Like you can just go there and get dinner and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
just too bad it's in literally if you guys don't know Chicago, it's in the worst neighborhood in Chicago. And that not to get into a Wrigleyville thing, but that the Cubs are there too, which is why it's like that. But I'm a Cubs fan, but it's nuts, especially at night, any night. It's just nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty, and it was getting the way, like, because it was during the game when I went when I started. But yeah, but yeah,
that's cool.
Something else.
Speaking of another theater in the city that has a VHS aesthetic, the Music Box. And
yes,
so Kevin and I are planning tentatively. Do you remember the date? Is it the
Is it the
10th?
sixth?
6th, 10th? Just Google it, you guys. They're showing the Music Box Theater is showing Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Maybe it is the 6th at 10 p.m. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
I think it is. I've got it right here.
So Kevin and I are going to try to go and see the movie. I'm trying to talk my brother into it because he's never seen the movie.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Now I really want to go.
I had never seen it, man, until we did it for the show. So
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it. I knew, I'd seen parts, whatever. But so we're gonna go. We're gonna be handing out stickers. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you know what I look like. Kevin's a ghost. But yeah, just don't stab me or anything, or don't sneak up on me. I'll probably punch you in the face. But come up to us and say hi. We'll give you a sticker.
It is so it is Friday, June 16th.
Friday, June 16th.
And it was and they're doing a joint thing with the Horror House, which is a really badass shop in town.
Right.
That's just all horror related. It's and they're the nicest people ever. They're the cryptic. If anybody knows the Cryptic Closet, they go to a lot of cons and do it's those guys, and they're just they know their shit, and they make awesome shirts.
I need to go in there, man. I've still never been in. I need to introduce myself and give them some stickers and blah blah blah.
It's kind of funny because it's a little bit of a hike for you, right? Or
not really. It's not really,
because it's a small shop, but so I would hate for you to go there and be like, wow, this place is as big as a walk-in closet.
Joe, everybody raves about it, and I follow them on Instagram. And it's they're becoming, if not are, the premier horror shop in Chicago, and we are the premier horror podcast in America. So we should, super team that. So yeah, so if we should be able to make it. Kevin's got a family and things like that going on, so who knows what could happen. He could get locked out of his house or his account or who knows what. But we're gonna try to be there. You guys try to be there.
The movie starts at 10, but the festivities start at 8. They're gonna have face painting, cotton candy, balloon animals, and they're gonna have vendors selling shit.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to be there early. Kevin will probably try to be there early if he can. And that's how you can see us and find us and whatever. We should probably get tickets ahead of time, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably sell out. There's only one showing, and
so that'll be a fun night. Watch, they'll sell out, and everything we just said will be for nothing. So, but that'll be fun. What else? You have any news? You said you had some news.
Yeah, a couple, 2 little things in news.
What do you got, Kevin? What kind of news?
Well, you'll be excited about this. It's been announced. The
werewolves
coming this summer, coming straight to DVD and VOD. Cocaine Shark is coming.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's one of those
Is it tornado?
Yeah, I actually think it is the company.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
I saw that. It is the same company.
It's the same company. Yeah.
I saw that. It was the second Cocaine Bear came out. They were like, hey guys, we're doing this. They were capitalizing.
It can't be any worse,
Sure. That's a true story as well, I think. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's
the other bit of news, which is, I mean, I don't know if it's exciting, but it's so Zach Greger, the guy that did or Gregor? I think it's Kreger. Okay. Either way, the guy that did that wrote and directed Barbarian.
Yeah.
Seems like he's going the Jordan Peele route, where he's producing smaller movies and working on his next movie. Okay. And so he's currently casting his next movie that he's writing and directing, and it's called Weapons.
Okay.
But I don't know what it's about. He's producing a movie by this guy, Drew Hancock, who hasn't. It's his first thing, and he's writing and directing this movie called Companion, and Jack Quaid is in it.
Jack Quaid. Oh, Jack Quaid. Well, Dennis Quaid's son, but
Dennis Quaid's son. Yeah.
The Boys.
Yeah, Huey. What a guy! Huey. What a cool name.
Huey.
No, Jack Quaid.
Oh, yeah, Jack Quaid, Jack Quaid, Jack Quaid. It's weird. You trip over it a
Yeah.
little, but it's a cool name. Um, wasn't he also the killer in Scream last five Cream?
Scream 6. Oh no, Scream 5. Scream
Five
5.
Cream,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Or one of the killers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of werewolves, we just watched Tales from the Crypt, season 2, episode 18, The Secret, over on Patreon. And we talked about it. And no spoilers, but
Woo! Is
that
it your
was
favorite episode so far?
no, but it's up there. I can't remember you know what which one I really, really liked was the one with Harry Dean Anderson. Harry Dean Anderson?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his
That's
name?
early. That's like, yeah, that's like, yeah, I
It
know
was
the
it
one you're
was the
talking about.
finale, I think, for season 1.
Yeah, I knew it was
Where
season 1.
he's the artist who everything comes to life that he draws.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That was a great episode. But this one was up there. It was great. And that's over on the Patreon on our bonus podcast, BoobTube TV. And that's patreon.com/death by podcast. And we do that show along with this one every week, as well as behind the scenes stuff. You can actually see what Kevin looks like. Sometimes not. It's a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll post like some kind of behind the scenes of your diorama. Maybe you can.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. If I get like a request or something, maybe I'll do that on Instagram where like, crack it open and show like
how it works.
Yeah, like, hey, the motor is, this is hooked up to this, and
Or can you
all
send
that
me a
stuff.
picture of you holding it and with a big smile on your face, and I'll post that on the Patreon?
Yeah, sure.
That would be fun. That would be fun. A fun thing. It would be fun.
I'll just put. Yeah, I mean, I have the video that shows like how it works. I'll just send you that. You put that on the Patreon.
Fair enough. Is that what you got for news?
Yeah, that's really it. There really isn't a ton of news.
No, that's good. I really liked Barbarian, so I'll be looking at what he's doing. Definitely. Weapons. It sounds cool.
It does sound cool. And yeah.
No Rob Zombie news.
Well, he did win that. No, he didn't win. He was nominated for that Fangoria award, right?
Yeah. So all right. So I had a.
Why was he not? It was a costume a nomination.
It was best makeup or costume. I can't remember which one.
Either way, why was he nominated?
I don't think it. I think it was like the Munsters, and then it was like because he was a producer, right?
Sure, I guess.
So I don't know how it went, but so for what'd you watch this week? I had a couple. I don't know if Kevin had one, but one of mine was what are they called? The Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. They were aired on Shudder, and I didn't realize that these awards started in 1992. They've been going for that long.
Wow.
And I don't know how they've presented them in the past, but they did a whole award show for Shudder this year.
They probably just printed them in the magazine.
Probably until a certain point and then put them on Shudder. I know last year they were also on Shudder. But it's kind of one of those things where I'd almost rather just read the list of the winners, but
yeah,
because the show itself was garbage.
Was anybody there?
It was that's why you could tell like the people that they got, like the people who were there compared to the people who were nominated, everybody who won wasn't there. So they did a video. Like Jordan Peele won, I think, best director for Nope. Carpenter and his son or producing partner or somebody, they won for score for Halloween, which awesome. That was the best part of that movie, the only good part of that movie. So stuff like that, but they were all videos, so they literally phoned it in. The hosts were who were the hosts? David Desmalchin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who's kind of a horror guy. He's always on Svengoolie.
Is he really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he's a Chicago guy. So he's always on Svengoolie. Or not always, but he's been on there several times. They're friends. The girl, I don't know her name, but Sleepaway Camp. That girl, that lady.
Original?
Yeah.
Like
so
the one with the
yeah. So she's big in the horror community, and she's gotten all kinds of plastic surgery, I think, and whatever, she is who she is. And she's fine, nothing against her, rest in peace. But she was one of the hosts, I think. She was on there, and it was just kind of like, it was just silly. But the thing that was really cool about it was it exposed me to a lot of movies that came out this year that I didn't know about. And I'm going to track them down, and I'm going to make a list for us, and I'll pass it your way, and we can try to track those movies down, because there was a lot of really cool looking stuff. And from what I could tell, the winners of the awards were like, yeah, you should give it to that movie. And it made sense. They were well thought out awards, but the show itself was like, eh. But yeah, it was cool. And then piggybacking off that, you ever see Terrifier?
No, I
First
haven't.
one.
And I've been told I would love it, and I've been told I would hate it.
So I watched the first one when, like last year, 2 years ago, whatever. The character of Art the Clown made his first appearance in an anthology movie. I can't remember what it's called. But then he got a spin-off, his own movie, Terrifier. And it's just gratuitous gore for the sake of that. There's not much of a story. He's just a guy, freaky looking clown that goes around and latches on to people and kills them in the most worst ways possible. This one, after watching that, that's just not my kind of thing. Horror.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer either for my horror movies to be fun to watch,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones that we're doing, like tonight's Ice Cream Man,
Yeah.
or I prefer a good story and a good characters. And Terrifier doesn't have any of that. But it does have this crazy amount of gore and kills and all this shit. So I wasn't gonna watch Terrifier 2, and then I saw it won Best Kill on the Fangoria Awards. So I called up my brother and I was like, should I watch this? Do you think it's just not my thing? He's like, it's not your thing, but watch it.
Yeah.
So I did, and it's not my thing.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
Because he told me you should watch This Is Right Up Your Alley. And I'm like, I don't
I
know.
wonder, man. I wonder if you'd like it.
I mean, I do like okay. I don't need much of a story, but like I love the Green Inferno. You know what I mean? But I'm there
It's
for that
different.
violence. Like I love
Different.
that. I love that. I love the violence in that movie, and I love everything about that movie.
Okay.
But also like I don't know. I give credit where credit's due. Like I think it was last week we were watching. What did we watch last week? Oh God, I meant to. That was the other thing. I sent you a text about this earlier in the week. There's a little bit of a tangent, but this is wild. I'm reading Quentin Tarantino's book, and it's about like his like love affair with like movies, and some of the chapters are like, oh, I started watching this when I was 8 and whatever, and half the book's like homework where you're like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, like you know what I mean, and you're writing down movies that like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm gonna have to watch this,
Yeah.
but eventually the chapters become movies, like so it's like, okay, here's a whole chapter on Taxi Driver.
Okay.
And why he likes it. And he has a chapter on whatever. And then I'm scrolling through because there's no table of context or contents. I'm scrolling through it, and the second to last chapter is the Funhouse from 1981.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
man.
We did
And
that 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. So I started to read it, and I didn't finish it, but like the first 3 paragraphs are just about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it is like it's a pretty big chapter. So
I want to know what he says about that. So give us an update next week.
yeah, he's something else, man. Like where you never know what he's gonna like love. You know what I mean? Like anytime you see an interview with him, sometimes he talks about something, you're like, really?
Yeah.
That? You know?
Yeah, he is weird like that, but I mean he is who he is. Everybody knows Quentin Tarantino, but yeah, that's interesting that that's a movie that's in there. But I don't know, man. I'm really curious if you'd like the Terrifier movies. If you do decide to watch them, watch the first one first, because the stories are kind of connected. But that one's got a kill in it that is like, holy shit. But then this one takes it a step further, and it's like, dude, it's just why. I'm like, why? Like if it was involved in like a good story or something, or
I don't
the character itself has no substance to it. So it's different to me than your traditional slashers that we're used to, whether it's the 80s slashers of Michael Myers, you know, Freddy Krueger, Jason, even Leatherface, who has like his so convoluted. There's still like it makes sense for that character to do what he does. And not that I need everything explained or an origin for everybody, but to me, the Terrifier movies are just like, hey, we can do this. We want to do this gag, and we need somebody to do it. So let's get the clown guy and whatever. But the stuff that we've seen, I've seen it before, but I've seen it in the context of good movies, and so it hits differently. You know, I just don't. I won't ever watch another one of these. And it puts stuff in your head, man. That's like, do I need that in my head? You know, I don't know. And I'm a huge horror fan, so check it out.
Sounds interesting. I
It's
mean,
weird.
yeah, I will eventually.
Other than that, I watched The Scorpion King 7 times because it was on TV for some reason. I have no idea why. Just kept putting it on. I don't know. Did you watch anything?
I watched a couple, but nothing too crazy. Like I watched Air.
How was
That's
that?
really good.
Well, it's
Like
directed
I
by
liked
Ben
it.
Affleck.
Yeah, I mean he knows what he's doing, man.
Sure.
And then like just we don't have to dwell on it, but like the whole thing is what's I mean a movie where you know the ending going in, like to keep it engaged, like to be engaged for 2+ hours,
Right.
when you know how the movie ends, like is a pretty good. And I started The Last Duel too, and
That one I want to watch that.
I'm about 25 minutes in, and I'm like, this is really good. I
Did
like
he
this.
direct that?
No, that's Ridley Scott.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but he's in it, and he
Yeah.
with the weirdest haircut ever.
Yeah. He's an awesome director. I'm just not a biopic fan. Especially like that's I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it at some point, but I'm sure it's good. He's
It
great.
is.
And
He
that
knows what
cast
he's.
is really good.
Yeah, and he's directing Affleck, or not Affleck, Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's very good.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you know what? And they do something that I'm glad. I wish more movies would do when they when it comes to like somebody
Macaulay
that
Culkin in it.
like they just it was when you have somebody in the movie that's so well known, like basically they don't cast Michael Jordan.
Sure.
Like Michael Jordan's in it, but you never see his face.
Yeah.
Like the movie's not about him, so it's like there's scenes with it that he's in, but they don't, because you're gonna look at him at some guy and be like, that's not Michael Jordan. It's gonna take you out of it immediately.
It's about his feet. It's about his shoes.
Yeah, I mean basically. Then you see the back of his head a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And that's the thing, like you were saying, like you don't know the end of the movie, but you know the end of that story.
Yeah, you know that eventually
the movie can go anywhere.
Sort of, yeah, but yeah, exactly. It's about the guy that like I didn't realize that Nike was such a small company before they associated themselves with Jordan, and it's about the one guy who like was like, hey, this is the guy. We need to put all of our chips on this guy. We need to design a shoe around him, and like he's gonna have his own shoe instead of it being like
so weird.
Well, it was just like Adidas. I know, because like Adidas was like, we've got all the best athletes and they all wear our shoe.
Yeah.
Like there was one Adidas shoe and they all wore it. And it was like, no, we're going to design a Jordan shoe.
Right.
And it was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And
that's cool.
It's really
it's about the guy behind the guy.
Yeah, it really is.
Behind the guy.
Literally. Yeah.
That's cool.
Very good movie.
That's cool. I think that's it. What'd you watch? I think that's about it. I know there's other things I watched, but we should talk about Ice Cream Man.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ice Cream Man.
All right, Ice Cream Man. 1995 or 1994?
5.
Clint Howard vehicle. I checked out his Instagram today. The he's awesome. He's grizzled, man. Have you seen what he looks like recently? Like now?
Yeah, I mean, he was in what was he in? He was in Rogue One, right?
Clint Howard?
Yeah.
I guess he's
he? In Ron Howard puts him in everything, whether
Ron Howard didn't direct that. You talking about Solo?
Oh, you're right. Solo. You're right. You're right. You're
Was
right.
it? But I didn't even know. Was he in that?
Yeah, he's in it for like he has like one line.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, he's in. Yeah, he's in
I
it.
don't know how I missed him, or
I
maybe I'm
know
just
that because
forgetting.
I want to say, and I could be wrong because I haven't seen Solo since it was in theaters, but I
Yeah.
remember it being like, there he is.
Well, I wonder
It's
what
like
he looks like because he
he's
just
like a
posted.
human Sam Raimi car, you know, like
Well,
that
he put up a
Oldsmobile.
post like yesterday, and it was about some, I don't know, but in it he was like, I guess maybe he was friends with Tina Turner, or his wife was friends with Tina Turner. Rest in peace. Tina Turner passed away yesterday. She was awesome, but yeah, he put up a post for that, and he's in this picture with his wife and some other lady, and who I think is related to Tina Turner. But he looks like, I mean, he looks insane, and he's wearing like flip flop, like Jesus sandals, and just like he's amazing. To just like, I can't think of anybody else who has just been whatever the fuck he wants, like himself, his entire life, and such a grizzled weirdo, just like, anyway, this movie, Ice Cream Man, what a cast, dude. Did you notice? Did you recognize
I
this cast?
couldn't believe the kid when I'm watching the opening credits. I'm like, what?
All
That
right.
him too? Yeah, do the
Yeah.
cast.
I'm gonna do the cast. You ready? Um, Clint Howard. We got David Naughton
Yeah.
from American Werewolf in London, played David. David.
Hmm.
No, he played what was I forget his character's name in that. Anyway, the main guy.
I think it
Uh
was David.
is that his name? David. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember the nurse saying his name.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think yeah, it's David.
What was his buddy's name that got killed?
Griffin Dunn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you put me on the spot. It's
See, I'm trying to think of him saying it. It's Julian.
no, it's one syllable. What is it? God damn it.
Um
It's one syllable.
Biscuit. No, it's two syllables. Anyway, if it pops in your head, say it. So we got David Naughton. We got Clint Howard. We got Lee Majors the second, who I don't know which character that was, but I think it was the other cop, because the other cop was Jan Michael Vincent
Yeah,
of
Jan Michael
Airport.
Vincent.
David Warner from Tron.
David Warner from
Dude,
Tron.
from Tron, from Time Bandits, from House of Waxworks.
Waxers.
All kinds of shit.
Oh man, I thought you didn't name any of the. I was gonna say from Ninja Turtles 2,
Oh,
from
it's right. What else? Yeah,
from Star Trek 6, from
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
also in oh, from Next Generation. He's part of a he plays a Cardassian,
A
and
Kardashian.
there's a race on Star Trek, that pretty prominent race called Cardassians, not Kardashians, Cardassians.
What?
But yeah, it's a
So
really
who took the name? Did the Kardashians take that, or did the Cardassians take Kardashians?
I mean, I'm sure the family was around before.
Are they all just like rich, beautiful people?
No, they're like these. They have like giant necks, and they have like scales, and they're assholes.
Oh my god! So
But
they
it's
so they're
one of
exactly the same as the real Kardashian.
yeah,
That's
basically.
awesome.
But it's one of the best episodes of Next Gen. It's a
Yeah,
two-parter,
I'll take your word for it.
and
Um,
I'll remind me to tell you about that. It's a
maybe
real
we'll
good
do it. Maybe we'll do it for BoobTube, because it
one.
sounds
Okay.
like they sound pretty horrific. Steve Garvey, the Hall of Fame first baseman for the Dodgers and the Giants, or Padres. Who else? Who else? I got Sandal Bergman. Do you know her?
No.
So she's from Conan. She's Conan's love interest in the first movie, I believe.
Mhm.
She's in uh Red Sonja. She's in, you recognize, well, she was the mom of the fat kid in this movie.
Okay.
So you'd recognize her face if she had like more of a prominent role, but I was really surprised when I saw her. So yeah, awesome cast.
Wait. There's one more guy,
Oh, what?
Jason Isfeld, who I think he's one of the kids. Johnny.
Okay.
Uh, his prominent role, like he's in all the American Pie movies
Okay.
as the other MILF guy. So in every American Pie movie, the two guys that like where the phrase came from, it was John Cho and another guy
Okay.
who basically was like, "Oh, that's a MILF. What's a MILF?"
Yeah.
This, and then they're like, "Ugh," they just
Yeah.
make noises, right? They're in all the American Pie movies, and it's always, I think, I don't know if John chosen all of them, but it's always this guy as part of the group.
I
And
had a feeling that one of these kids grew up a little bit to be in other stuff, and I
I
didn't
mean, that's all
recognize
he
it.
does. His main credit when you click on him on IMDb is all the American Pie movies and like
Yeah.
MILF guy number one.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cast. I think out of the whole cast, though, I was most surprised by Jan Michael Vincent. I wasn't a huge Werewolf fan, but it was an '80s show that was really popular, and I was like, what? Like, I don't know.
Have you ever
It's
seen
bananas.
I know you don't like Rick and Morty,
Yeah,
but there's
I
a
just never really seen
there's an episode called Interdimensional Cable where it's basically them
it.
being like, we're gonna do 20 tiny little sketches.
Okay.
Okay, like in that where it's basically they're watching TV and they're like, yeah, this is all the cable from all these different dimensions, and it's just anything you can think of. Like it's like a commercial for like people like that have ants inside their eye. It's weird. Anyway,
Okay.
but one of the things is a trailer for this movie starring Jan Michael Vincent, and it's
Oh,
hysterical.
I might have seen that.
And it's
Sounds really
like,
familiar.
well, it's like Jan Michael Vincent stars as Jan Michael Vincent, and where they play twin brothers.
Yeah,
And he's like, yeah, and they say Jan Michael Vincent's name like 30 times in the
that's
trailer,
awesome.
and it's hysterical. They can't even get through it. At the end of the trailer, you can hear Justin Roiland like just lose his shit. Like
That's awesome.
they can't even get through this thing.
I wouldn't mind checking out more Rick and Morty. I don't know.
It's a very good show.
Yeah, I heard it
It's
is.
one of those things like Sublime, or where the fan base is annoying and it kind of,
Supply.
well, like I love Sublime, man, but then like people are like, you like Sublime, and it's like, no, like I know what you think of when you think of it. Or Dave
Right.
Matthews. I love Dave Matthews.
Nah,
And
Dave Matthews is good. They're a good band.
but so is Rick and Morty. That's what I mean. Like
Sure.
there's good bands that are
How about Limp
associated.
Bizkit? That's probably a better.
No, because they suck. Like that doesn't work. So if you meet a Limp Bizkit fan, you're like, oh, fuck off. I'm saying that like as a Dave fan, I'm wrongfully discriminated against
Sure, I get
because
it.
I'm associated with a certain kind of people.
I get it.
You know,
I get it.
but
Grateful Dead. Well, Grateful Dead is pretty respected.
Grateful Dead's awesome. Yeah, yeah, but that's my point.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
guess yeah, they're respected,
yeah.
but yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get it. I get it. So 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, Kevin texts me and he's like, hey man, I'm like 38 minutes into this movie. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. If you want to change it, I don't mind. And I was like, what the fuck? I knew exactly what, and I hadn't watched it at that point. And I was like, but I knew exactly what you meant, and I knew exactly what to expect. And I was like, hell no. If it's that bad, that's exactly, I was like, and after watching it, this movie, maybe more than any other movie we've watched, is exactly why I love doing this podcast. And it brought me back to like our first, well, it brought me back to our first episode for a couple reasons. American Werewolf in Paris, that was the first episode we ever did. And that's a different kind of shitty movie, but it was like, oh, all right. Like as soon as we did that episode and watched that movie, I was like, I know what our podcast needs to be. And like, as much as we love the quality stuff, Lost Boys, Fright Night, whatever, those kinds of movies are like, everybody likes those. Like you're not going to really get a lot of people that discriminate against them. Whereas this movie, which I'm sure has its fan base,
It does.
yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy of a target for people, for us. And that's why that's the charm of it. Like this movie is so bad. It's amazing. It makes
Yeah.
it, I would put this movie on in the background while I'm working now anytime.
I mean, it's one of those movies where like, I mean, like The Room, or like where like like the decisions, you're like, why is it like that? Like certain things that just like, okay, well that must play into things later, or like why would you shoot it that way, or like it just I wish I had seen it when I was younger because I think I might have went into like film. If I'd have seen this when I was younger, I might have been like, well, okay, that got released. So how
So
bad, you know what I
anything can
mean?
get released.
Yeah, like it literally, I mean, it feels like they shot it with like a camcorder, like one of those
Totally.
big like 90s camcorders.
I'm sure this was video.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, it was. I'm
and Clint
sure.
Howard's name at the time oddly probably carried some kind of weight, maybe. I mean, I can't name
I mean,
another
he
movie.
is. I mean, people know who he is, and
Yeah,
he is a striking like, like he does.
he's a caricature of himself and like and of like this sort of genre of movie. And but all the this movie is, like I said, it's a really easy target, and all the ways that you can kick it and put it down, it does some really cool stuff. Like there's some things in it that are like
I
there's
would,
that are
I would say the last like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it starts to really pick up, and
it
they
does,
start
and
to,
it's less than an hour and a half, so that's a
yeah,
good third of the movie. um but between the cast, between like just the silliness and like the stuff where you're just like what the fuck, and then stuff like uh you know what was his name, Small Paul,
yeah.
like his little storyline that he gets, that kid, the fact like the group of kids, they definitely wanted to like do some kind of, not Goonies as much
The
as
ET Goonie, yeah, with the
it
bikes,
was
like
more of like a Monster Squad vibe.
it reminded me of Little Monsters at the end because
Yeah,
when they're all wearing berets,
yeah.
you know.
um there's some good stuff, and like the characters are all like really, what's the word I'm looking for, like the cops are just super are just
I
super
call them
like,
cops. I mean, like Jesus.
they're like insanely, everything is a caricature of a caricature of a caricature. Like um Jan Michael Vincent, dude, is just the scene where they go to the hospital or wherever that is, where with the zombie patients,
Yeah,
like what is going on in that scene? Because I don't even know why they were there to begin with. Some clue led them there, and
yeah.
they see the mad doctor, and then all of a sudden, all the patients come out and start like kind of attacking them. But one cop is like, "All right, let's get out of here," and he's kind of got a sense of urgency. But Jan Michael Vincent takes his fucking sweet time just walking. It
Um,
was hilarious, dude.
I'm not okay. I don't want to speculate because I don't know,
I
but
He was
on
over
on
it.
on no on IMDb it says he was drunk.
Really?
Yeah, it says that he was. It says specifically. It said that he was drunk during this whole shoot, and specifically during that scene, which is why he wanders off by himself.
Dude,
But I don't know. I wasn't there. We've said before that the trivia section on IMDb is not to be trusted,
that's true.
but somebody got on there and said that he was drunk.
I would not debate that, dude, because I'm watching it and I'm like, all right, like just to set the scene, like the crazy doctor, and he's like, toodly doo, you will never catch me, like the Riddler, basically.
Yeah.
And you only see him for like a brief second, a couple seconds, but then all of a sudden, all these patients just come out of the doors and out of the woodwork, and they're acting like zombies. And you're like, okay, they go after the cops. Neither of the cops pull their guns to begin with. The one cop has a little bit of sense of urgency. He wants to get out of there. They get split up. And I think they say like, I'll meet you at the car or something. And then
I
it
don't think
just
it do.
it sticks with Jan Michael Vincent as, or it cuts between the two. Like
Well, he
the one,
runs out of a door. He runs out of a door that has like just exit spray painted on it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
just the most
yeah,
like clearly like this isn't an official like hospital door. It's just
yeah.
a door, that they spray painted the word exit on. And then yeah, and then all of a sudden as if it's like, oh, that's how he just walk. It's not like he unlocks it. It's not even like a big door. But then yeah, then just all the mental patients are on the street,
Well,
like
but before that, they cut back to the one cop, and he's like fighting. He's like
yeah.
trying to get out of there. He's fighting, and he even pulls his gun, I think, at the end and shoots his way out. He gets out to the car. It cuts back to Jan Michael Vincent. He's got his sunglasses on. He's walking down the hallway, like strutting down the hallway, and these
Yep.
these zombie guys are like on him, and he's just like pushing him off and like shouldering, and he's like, just get the fuck off me. He's not, no sense of urgency to get out of this building or this situation until he finally, like, he gets out of the hospital and he's still just walking. And it's like, I just got this feeling like he was like, I got my paycheck. I'm over this. And this is how I'm, like a Wesley Snipes deal, you know?
Yeah.
Like where Wesley Snipes is like, I'm not opening my eyes. That shit was hilarious. I don't know. And maybe he was drunk. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of like the IMDb page, by the way, is like some of the shit that they put on there is like it says the director, this is the only time he's done a real movie, like it's a porn director.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's pretty like, and they say like the girl at the grocery store is like his wife, and like it seems pretty convincing. But anyway, just some of the decisions, like to like I thought this was gonna factor in, like why. So the main kid, what was his name? Tuna.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that is.
Well, they had to make it a point to point out that that's his actual name, like it's his birth name, and just whatever. I mean, the script must have said that he's a fat kid.
He's in a fat suit. He's in a fat suit the whole movie.
If you want to call it a fat suit, this is a pillow under his shirt.
Totally.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And
the second we saw him, I was like, that kid, that's a fake fat kid.
That kid's not really fat.
Right.
So the script must have said, like, oh, he's a fat kid. But like, and there's like a few times people point out, like, call him like, but like, it doesn't factor into the story at all. He doesn't need to be fat.
Nope.
Like, there's no reason for that.
There's no scene where he can't run away because he's too fat, or he can't fit through something because he's too fat. But at the end of the movie, you see him again, and he's lost all this weight.
He's lost all this weight, and they like point it out. But
yeah,
like,
one of his buddies is like, "Hey, you look good," or whatever.
But he looks, I mean, he looks like a regular kid. He looks like Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah,
like where he's got a solid chin. Like he's clearly.
It's weird. It's weird,
and it doesn't even look like, yeah. When you say a fat suit, you think like, oh yeah, they must. It's literally a pillow.
Yeah,
in his like
under
and
his
all
90s.
all the other kids are wearing like t-shirts and like stuff. He's wearing big long like dress shirts, or like because they need to. Yeah, they need to jam that shit underneath them, and
that was hilarious, man.
But like, why? What? For what?
No
reason?
No idea. Unless it had something to do. Well, it didn't though. Like with ice cream, and like that it can make you fat, because he did eat a lot of ice cream. Remember, they go to the park and he's got the ice cream and he falls and it goes in the sand. He eats it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna eat that?
Yeah, but that wasn't because he was like, I'm so hungry. That was like, I'm gonna gross out my friends.
Yeah.
You know?
But still, I guess he was like the chunk of the group, you know?
I just keep going back to that cop. There was that one time I laughed out loud at like the movie, but then the movie actually like acknowledged, like, what didn't think to say is like there's a missing kid, and like they go to the ice cream man and ask him like, hey man, you seen any missing kids or like whatever? He's like, well, who am I looking for? And he's like, I can't tell you. And he's like, okay. And so
have you seen a missing kid? Have you seen a missing kid?
I don't think he says
what's
that.
What's he look like? I can't tell you.
That's basically the conversation. I might have it wrong, but it was like, so anyway, then he's like, okay, whatever, I'll keep an eye out. And he's like, let me get and he orders an ice cream. And,
yeah,
you know, and Clint Howard's back there, like putting eyeballs in it and stuff. And the missing kid's mom walks up to both the detectives and says like that's the thing. Even background actors in this are like awful. They're like, she's like, have you found my son yet? Like, just like, as just nonchalantly,
right.
Like, have you found, you know, whatever.
Right.
And they're like, I forgot. I wish I remember what they said, but they were like, they say like no, and then they're like, you want some ice cream?
Yeah.
But at least the other cop says like, what the fuck is wrong? He says like,
totally.
You want some ice cream? Like
what? Like, he said, I think he says like, what? Everybody likes ice cream, or like ice cream makes everything better or something.
Yeah,
like
he's like, I'm trying to make her feel better.
But then it cuts to he's eating the ice cream that with the eyeballs in it, and the camera just sits on his mouth while he's
Yeah.
chewing this fake eyeball with chocolate ice cream just all over his face like a kid. It was insane, man.
I
Like
mean, some of the like it was decisions you would make like if I were like 12 and I was making a movie. Like
yeah,
there's parts where they have to like what was it? With the ice cream, the shoes like there's a scene where it's like they I'll be right there and then they show like the kid's shoes
uh-huh,
and they're covered in ice cream
right.
except it's clearly mashed potatoes like it's not ice cream and it's like
You
dude
couldn't just get some ice cream and put it
like
on.
what why wouldn't you use ice cream like I understand like oh it melts and whatever but like mashed
Oh
potatoes
man.
doesn't look like ice cream man like it looks like mashed potatoes.
Do we know why at the opening scene that these gangsters took out the ice cream man, like the original guy?
I
You
don't
know,
think
the
I don't think they
flashback.
say why. Oh God, that's the other thing. So you haven't
Oh,
seen the new
that's the. This
Guardians?
is the other thing. This is the other thing. All right.
Well, all these all these like useless flashbacks to like why he's crazy. Like this movie should have been 20. This movie could have been a Tales from the Crypt. Like honestly, like if you could take out all the like flashbacks,
Uh,
like that. The thing is, like, yeah, pointless flashbacks annoy the shit out of me. Like
well,
when it's
yeah, they're pointless.
well, it'd be
Well,
one
I
thing
mean,
if there was like a twist, if it was like, oh, that's why he's like that. You know what I mean? But it's just like it's just we just see this kid get fucked, and it's my one big I know you haven't seen Guardians yet. It's my one big gripe with it
uh,
is everybody's saying how great it is and how all this they show all this backstory. And I'm like, this I there's a ton of backstory in the new Guardians
uh,
that I'm like, this is totally I like you guys already told this in 2 seconds in the first one. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I didn't hate the movie, but like there's a lot of it that I'm like, I don't need this. Like,
explanation. I know you don't like explanation. I know that. Like you don't like you. Well, but I'm serious. Like you don't like the storytellers to talk to the audience as if they're dumb, like they can't figure it out, like everything explained. I get that. Like that's a legit
yeah, but in like I don't want to, and it's well, it's I mean,
why a thing is. Like you don't necessarily need to know why everything is the way it is.
yeah, but I don't mind it if it's good. It's just like I could have guessed that, like like there's
Yeah.
that's my yeah. Again, I don't
But I
want to
don't even
spoil.
think that these flashbacks, I mean, these flashbacks let you know that Ice Cream Man was experimented on or whatever, and that's why he's fucked up. But when you see him in present day, there's nothing that he does in his behavior that's like, oh, that's a product of him being fucked with when he was a kid. It's like, no, this guy's just a weirdo. You know,
Yeah,
like that's the sense that I got.
they
Um,
also can't like. It's like oh he worshipped this original ice cream man who taught him all this stuff, but then it's also like oh the nurse gave him ice cream. Like they can't like
yeah.
decide on an origin. It's so
who
weird.
who he's yeah, his origin was very mucky or I don't
And it
know.
took up half the movie.
Yeah.
It was just like,
I kind of yeah, the flashback scenes didn't do anything for the movie other than show you because he's got a relationship with this nurse present
yeah,
day who she's kind of like she keeps saying like I'm his caretaker. That's pretty much all the only purpose that the flashbacks serve. Um Clint Howard, he's got this or Ice Cream Man. The best line in the movie I thought was when they're questioning him and like he says I think they've like the clues have led to his trailer or wherever it is that he lives and they're like poking around snooping around searching the place and he says something like he gets like smart ass with him. He's like, I chop up policemen and use them as fertilizer when they're looking in the
yeah,
garden. You know, they're like, what's in that? They're like, what's buried there? And it's clearly a garden. And it's like,
yeah.
I love that he like talked back to him like that. And he's got this like ho hum attitude about it. It was pretty, I don't know. It was a cool like character moment for the
There's a lot of weird, like where they're like, "There's nothing we can do." Like
Yeah.
everybody, like all the kids are like, "Dude, I saw him murder a kid," and I'm like, "Man, there's no proof. We're not even gonna bother looking into it."
Yeah.
Like it's so wild. Like the amount of like Wiggums in this movie, it's through the roof, and it's just like, what's the one thing that they did? That was like, it was what? Oh, I wonder what the script actually said, because you know all the plastic dandelions that are all over the movie.
Yeah.
At one point, like when you first see him, the cop says to him like, "Wow, those are some nice dandelions. How do you grow them like that?" He like it's like one of those, and he says that's what he says. I
That's when he
I
says
grind
that.
up
Yeah.
I grind up a police officers, and then they show the dandelions, and they're all plastic
Yeah.
like toys.
Yeah.
Like what a
Yeah.
weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
No, it
know,
was, I mean, um, it was like, and especially like, or also the woman, the nurse lady, like just everything that about her character, where she lived, the fact that like she's this retired nurse that helped experiment on this guy, but somehow they stuck together like as adults.
yeah, it's like reverse Stockholm syndrome,
I
kind
guess
of.
so. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. And just where she lives and like that whole setup is just, it was super bizarre.
It's kind of
The
like
fir-
if Loomis fell in love with Michael Myers,
yeah,
almost. You know.
yeah, yeah, totally. When we see his headquarters or whatever it is where he makes his ice cream, where he takes
Yeah.
Small Paul, that scene where he's like showing him how he makes the ice cream so good, and he's like, here's the ingredients and blah blah blah. And then I guess they've like ground up like the hot chick, like the porn star
Yeah.
chick, and there's like a diaphragm. He finds that diaphragm.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
finds that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was immediately I was like, so I wrote down in my notes, I was like, diaphragm in the ice cream versus condom in the soup. Which is better? You know? Like that American Werewolf in London or in Paris, like that
I
scene
think condom with in the soup
in
because
the soup, you think
yeah,
wins?
well, because it's an unused condom.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah, that's
not.
true. That's
It's
true.
just a piece of rubber at that
Sure,
point.
sure.
Whereas the other one is like seemingly if she was in the machine
Then it
and
came out
and
of
it
her.
destroyed everything except for that, then and that machine, man, that lair that he's got
Yeah,
just made me appreciate every time they were in there. I just was like, I miss Motel Hell. Like it just was like Motel Hell. That's a movie because you know it had all the same shit where it's like all this crap all over where you know it's going to come in to later, and
yeah,
it's basically the same thing. It's just a bunch of traps to
yeah.
get killed on later, but
But
they did that.
Motel Hell is like intentionally like good movie. Like it's a good solid horror entry, like
Yeah,
and but this is just a different thing. That's why I was saying at the beginning, like this movie, nobody making this movie thought that they had anything other than a pile of trash and probably made it in hopes of like with the intent of video sales and maybe the guy,
yeah,
you know, going off of Clint Howard's name a little bit, probably I didn't know the guy was a porn director. He probably had a crew or like a group of people that he would also support him and he'd make money off of in video sales. Um, Other than that,
yeah. It,
this,
it might be a Jack Frost situation where it's
yeah,
like we
exactly,
just got to get a box and put it out, and
exactly.
and
And the
that's
box is good.
there's a few box. I mean, they have a
Yeah,
multiple covers, and the covers are all very good.
the
I mean, that
VHS
was
boxes
one
are
of the
great.
main things about this fucking. It doesn't surprise, and you know what? When I started to get frustrated was like the fourth or fifth kill. You know how I feel about off-screen like kills, especially ones where it's just like characters just disappear, and then he
Yeah,
just says, "Yeah, I killed that guy,"
yeah,
like stuff like
yeah.
that. Like where there's a character looking for him,
Right.
and then shines a flashlight right in his face and doesn't see
Yeah.
him, and then that character walks off screen, and then Clint Howard just walks towards him, and then it's just like, and then he's wearing his shirt in the next scene,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
then when he kills his girlfriend, I was like,
the
Again,
bro
off
guy.
screen. I'm like, motherfucker. Yeah, that guy had some good lines. Like when she's like, what did she say to him about like, you're not a cop. Like, stop doing because he wants to be a cop.
Yeah.
And he says, I have a gun. The badge will follow. like, what a like lunatic. And he's so angry at like, yeah, I don't know. That character was off the wall, man.
Dude, there was another that was like you said, the last third of the movie. There was another line in there. I don't know if you caught it, but the movie takes this awesome turn when at the end when the cops show up at his lair and he grabs the kid and pulls him into the van and shuts the doors, which
Yeah.
by shutting the doors stopped the cops.
Mhm.
And he starts like throwing the kid around inside the ice cream
Yeah.
truck, and the
Yeah.
cops are outside, just
Yeah.
right outside the glass. And one of the cops yells, "So Clint, like Ice Cream Man's like killing this kid, basically,
Yeah. I mean,
and
potentially, you
and
know,
potentially, and the cops are outside with their like
like
literally right
sticking their
outside
guns like in the
yeah,
window.
and not doing anything. And one of the cops yells, "Keep that kid visible at all times."
Yeah.
Like while you're killing this kid, keep it visible.
And also, they're not even covering both doors of the
Right.
van. They're just both standing in the same. And then,
And then he appears on the roof, right?
well, he throws him out the door,
Oh,
and
that's right.
then
Yeah.
he's on the roof. He jumps out of the roof
Awesome. That was awesome.
and he hits him with ice cream cones and like knocks him
He
out.
takes the two
Or
cops out,
ice cream scoopers, right?
ice cream scoops. He takes two cops out with ice cream scoops, one in each hand. I guarantee you that was Clint Howard's like he was like, this is it right here. This is my moment. Like he's two ice cream scoopers,
Well,
jumps
what even
off his
one?
car.
This is what's wild to me is like they obviously had an effects guy
Yeah.
because they have all these awesome severed heads that they
Yeah,
use,
dude. They
but
were
like,
great.
but nothing goes into the actual kills. Like, why didn't he jump off there and like those cops are basically disposable. Like they don't even use them. Like you know what I mean? Like you
Jan
just
Michael Vincent isn't disposable.
no, but he could have killed the other cop. You know, like
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, but like, why do we have all these off screen and like it was driving me nuts.
Whose heads were those when he's chasing the kids and he just that was creepy, man. He just because he was way behind him. And then he
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's behind the car and he lifts the heads up and he's like talking. Whose
I
heads
think they
were
were cops because he was talking about the two
oh
heads, which had like the little trigger to like make the mouse move.
yeah. And
Yeah,
he's like moving it. Yeah.
yeah,
But those look great. Those heads did look great.
they look great, and like the one on the ice cream cone looked great. Tell you what,
Yeah.
if I would have seen that shot of him holding the head on the ice cream cone, I'd be like, yeah, I'm watching this today.
Yeah.
But like this movie, yeah, I'll tell you, man. Remember I told you about the guy that I used to work with that like this was his favorite movie and he would talk about it all the time.
Really? Did you I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's a guy I used to work with.
Was it the guy
Yeah,
who loves imagination?
no, that was when I worked at Best Buy. This
Okay.
guy used to pump gas for the city
Okay.
basically because like if you drive a city vehicle, like we have our own gas stations
Yeah.
and then there's guys that work there that just pump the gas all day.
Oh, last week you told me there were two guys that you knew that
Yeah,
this was their favorite movie. Is that
this
what
is the
you're
guy I'm
saying?
talking about. You know what the guy's other favorite thing to watch was? YouTube videos of hysterectomies.
What?
That's what he would do.
Dude,
I'd
this
roll
guy
up
is
and he'd be
so
like, "You got to watch this. You got to watch this." And
what?
then, yeah, he would watch that, and he would watch. Oh, what was it called? The other thing he watched was just these women punching each other in the crotch, like
All right,
hour.
so he's
That
a
was it.
legit he's a
Yeah,
legit psycho. He's a
yeah, that
legit
had like a
psycho.
name, and he would watch it over and over again. It was just women in spandex punching each other, like in the pelvis area,
Dude,
like in the crotch, and
what?
it was that like hours of just hysterectomy videos, actual hysterectomies, and this movie.
Did this
Those were
guy did people you worked with ever like disappear randomly?
no, not that I know of, but like
Man, that
this guy,
you worked with a legit serial killer, dude.
he probably still works for this company.
Man, what a weirdo.
But he doesn't actually work for the same company I do. Because it's a different company that pumps the gas.
Yeah. I mean, I could see anybody who's who this with this is their favorite movie. I could go either way. Like I could see like, all right, you're a complete psycho, or if you you recognize the charm of it. I mean, I wrote down like at the end, I had a little list of why this movie is excellent, and it's got it's got two badass cops. It's got a '90s kid squad wearing awesome '90s
Yeah,
kids clothes.
on paper,
It's
this
got a
this
yeah,
movie
yeah.
sounds great.
It's got a hot chick. It's got hot chicks in it. It's got a sympathetic creep. Ice Cream Man is like a kind of sympathetic character.
I think that's only because Ron Howard's playing him, and like he naturally
Sure,
has that
Clint
like,
Howard.
yeah.
It's
What
got.
did I say?
You said Ron Howard.
Oh, okay.
It's got a cast of horror elite, and then it's got ice cream. Like it's got all the elements. So,
It's
what
got
do you think
David
about?
Warner. It's got David Warner.
That's why I'm saying like horror elite. What did you think about his death?
Ice Cream Man.
Ice Cream Man's death.
I mean, it honestly looked like I to put it this way, the movie's less than an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and it probably took me 2 hours to watch it because I spent so much time rewinding it, being like, "Wait, did I miss something? Like, why are they? How are they there? They just like he was just there. Why
Yeah.
is he there?"
Yeah.
And yeah, when Ice Cream Man died, I was like, "How did he fall in that? Like, it doesn't make
Dude.
like, they put the small Paul plugs in
Yeah.
something, and then
It was straight up. It was straight up Kevin McAllister, like straight up.
what do you mean?
Like it was. He's like sitting there, like
Oh yeah.
doing
No,
a little
right, but
electric
it's not
thing.
like, but it's not like he plugs it in and he electrocutes the
Right.
guy and he goes flying into it. It reminded me of the movies I made when I was like 12.
Yeah.
In my backyard. He like plugs this thing in and then he just like does this like pratfall into the like cereal or the
Right.
ice cream maker.
Right.
And
It
it's
was
like, wait, what? I don't see the connection. Like, why plug this thing in? And there's even like an 80-yard sound effect of like a rip or something, as if like, oh, like it pulled him, but like nothing.
I think he plugs it in and the thing starts spinning and because he says
oh yeah, he plugs in the ice cream.
Ice Cream Man says to Small Paul when they're mixing it, and he's like, "Don't get too close. That thing will grab you and it'll kill you."
Yeah.
And so the kid plugs it in, it starts spinning, and I think that rip that you hear is like his clothes get
It's
stuck
supposed to be
on
his
it,
clothes get stuck in it,
and he gets pulled in, and
but
it's
they
like
don't have that insert of
Right.
that shot,
Right.
which would have taken 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
You know,
But he's got like it's like the gremlin in the blender, like his legs are up in the air.
it was
It was hilarious. But I thought like Small Paul I thought that was like I was like, is this one of the uh Macaulay Culkin movies that I've never seen? So I thought it looked exactly like him. And then when he's over there like at the end plugging in the thing, I was like, dude, that's like so Kevin McAllister. But,
wait, oh, the stinger ending about like, oh, now Small
oh
Paul.
no, when he's just when he's just messing with it to kill ice cream.
Okay.
But the stinger ending, what was it? It was
well, first they showed the group of friends all getting along,
right, and he's lost all the fat kids,
and he lost all the weight.
Yeah.
They pulled the pillow out for what a weird,
literally.
what a weird trip. But anyway, and then they show. They said, "Oh, where's Small Paul?" And doesn't he say in therapy?
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they go and they cut to him, and he's like, I think he's in the Ice Cream Man's like base, right? Like in his little hideout.
Yeah.
And he's like, just looks up, like, oh, and now he's the Ice Cream Man. It was a real like.
Was there a sequel to this?
No.
Why you say it like that, man? This movie should have had like many sequels.
Well, it's got like a cult following, and like I wish I would have. Like I went on DVD Talk to see like, well, is there a Blu-ray release? What's the deal? Like I'm thinking it's gonna be okay. Well, maybe it's reached like the room stat, not the room because that's like the top one, but like where maybe directors or maybe there's interviews. There's a bunch of maybe there's a commentary track where they talk about how shitty it is, but there's none of that. At least not on that release. And I'm surprised. Like you would think Clint Howard would be willing to come back.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah,
Between between a porn director, Clint Howard, and then the rest of this cast that's awesome.
Well, now these kids are all grown up, so like
You could have a
you could get
great,
them.
yeah, you could have a great
I'm surprised Scream Factory
commentary.
hasn't done this.
I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised if they, I don't know why they haven't done
I
it
mean,
yet.
this seems right up their alley.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe they're waiting for the, the 30th anniversary,
Yeah, I guess it would be.
2025. Look,
I mean,
something to look forward to.
you could get. I think Jan Michael Vincent's still alive. You could get.
Yeah.
You know, did they talk about this in Search of Darkness?
I don't not. I mean, I haven't seen
Oh no,
season
because it's
3.
It's 90s.
Oh, do they only do 80s in the Search of Darkness?
Well, on the list, they have a little like asterisks next to the movies that are
Oh,
not
okay.
so yeah, they don't only do 80s, but they do make a point to point out when it's not 80s.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. I want to watch that.
I bet this might be in the third one because the third one I hear is just like, dude, this is everything's obscure as fuck.
Really,
from what I understand. Yeah.
it's awesome. You got anything else on this? Ice Cream Man. I checked on Siskel and Ebert, and they didn't do it, but they did do Home Alone 3. That blows my mind.
I think that got a theatrical release.
Maybe I don't know, but
I'd like to see if there's an interview with David Warner where they ask him about this movie.
man, I would imagine anyone involved, because David Warner plays like just a psycho, um, like a weird dad, and his wife was somebody too. I forget who his wife
That's
was.
so funny that we have
He's
totally
like a
different...
weird preacher.
I thought you meant in the movie. I
In
thought
the
you
movie,
meant
yeah, in the
okay,
movie.
yeah.
What were
That
you gonna say was so weird?
um I was just saying I thought you were describing like the kind of roles he plays, and I was gonna be like, God, we have such like when I think of David Warner, I think of either Ninja Turtles 2 or Star Trek 6.
Really? That's well, you don't think of, well, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. That would be your era of David Warner. Like Tron, man. Like Tron is just, and then
You know what? I didn't see Tron until like recently.
really?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Time Bandits, right?
Yeah, I have.
Check this out.
Oh yeah, I saw you got the VHS of it.
Boom.
That's awesome.
Joe gave me that. Dude, he's amazing in Time Bandits. Like he's a legit solid villain in everything that he's in. I think he's almost always the villain, but he was a legit actor. Like a this movie is by far like, why did you do this movie, David Warner? But it was also, I can't remember anything that he did after this. So his prime was like,
Oh yeah, it was 90. So this was 95.
yeah. So his prime was like before this stuff. So before this.
Yeah, everything we named is pre 95.
What year was Turtles 2? Like
90
89 was number
no, it's 91. Because the first one's 90 and they
Okay.
shoot I'm sending you. Oh, you know what's a bummer?
He didn't play Baxter Stockman, did he?
No, and it's stupid he didn't. He played, oh, what the hell is the doctor? I remember being a kid and being like, why isn't he Baxter Stock? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you having a scientist in this movie and not having a Vita Baxter? Like, what?
Yeah.
And he looks like Baxter Stockman. Like,
Sure.
What are you doing? And I thought for sure, like in the third one, I'm like, well, he's gonna turn to a fly. And the third one just was like, nah, we're going back in time.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I'm sending you a picture. I'm a little bummed that when I pulled up what he looked like with the giant neck.
You talking about as a Kardashian?
And a Kardashian. His neck isn't as big as other Kardashians because he wears like a kind of a collar, so it's not as prominent, but they still have really big necks.
That's fun.
And he was also the Klingon ambassador.
Oh, I remember that
in Star Trek 6.
Yeah, I remember that.
That one's awesome. It's with oh my God, how am I?
That was a good story where it's like there's an assassin.
Yeah, they don't know who it is, and then like,
oh, that's a fun picture. It looks like a fucking turd leech. I don't know what that is. All right, man. You got anything else on this?
No, man. No.
All right. Ice Cream Man, it was awesome. Kevin, you loved it. Having finished the movie, are you glad that I didn't like say,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
let's,
it would have been like, it probably Interview with the Vampire or something else, and it would have been,
yeah,
like that would have been a different episode. Like, oh, look at how like that's a real movie. This is
yeah. No, I mean, this is a real movie. It's good. All
yeah, I
right.
mean it, in the
For next week, I have the letter J. I'm gonna do a follow up to, was it last season?
I think last season we did Jack Frost, and I think I wanted to do well.
You
I like
what?
Jack Frost more than you did.
I know you
You
did. I
hated
know you
Jack
did.
Frost.
But Jack Frost is another movie that's like, that's why we do this podcast. So Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. That's 2000, the year 2000 that came out. So the first one came out in like 90, I want to say it was like 97 or something. It was right around when
It was 97.
Michael Keaton's came out, and it was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Michael
Like in
Keaton's came out in 98.
98. Wow, what a weird choice to be like, let's do this movie that's called the same thing of a shitty movie that came out last year.
Well, they
Whatever.
probably didn't know. They probably were like, whatever. Nobody gives a shit about that movie.
So yeah, Jack Frost 2
I
for
mean,
next week.
if you want to do the Michael Keaton Jack Frost, I mean, I've never seen it, but it sounds like a horror movie. If you want to do that instead,
That one's grown on me over the years. Like, I watched it for the first time. It's a Christmas movie a few years ago, and I've seen it a couple times since. It's terrible, but it's like whatever. But this'll do. I'm glad we have this option because J is a hard letter. Next after that though, you got the letter K, and you're gonna have a lot to think about, Kevin. So I'm jealous. So yeah, next week, Jack Frost 2. Look forward to it. What else we got? If you want to support the show, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/deathbypodcast, where you'll find our second bonus mini podcast, BoobTube TV. This week we did, as I mentioned earlier, Tales from the Crypt, season 2, episode 18, The Secret. What's the secret, Kevin? What else? If you want to find us on social media, Instagram is our hub, and that's at Death by Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter, Death by Podcast. And we're all actually, I looked at it the other day, all our shows, at least for this season as well, and all of our shows for all 3 seasons are on YouTube. So if you like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, it's there. But we're also everywhere else that you pod. I even checked this week because our home Podbean is doing some special thing with Amazon Music, and I just wanted to make sure we were on there. So we're also on there. Audible, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Podcast. So you can find us everywhere. Spotify. And that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Okay, get ready. It's Miller time. Kevin?
Shut the fuck up.
That was probably the best one ever in the history of that occurrence. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Stay creamy. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.